The eye and the blood. The research station had not responded to messages for 3 days. Captain Reyes of the colonizing ship Odyssey finally decided to dock without permission. The external sensors showed no signs of life, only movement. The docking bay doors creaked open, and drops of blood led them into the darkness like morbid breadcrumbs. Someone had scratched into the wall with their nails. It watches, it sees, it is inside you. Inside the laboratory, 3 were still alive, at least physically. One survivor, Dr. Helm, sat motionless on a hospital bed, his head tilted slightly to the side. His eyes were not human. In place of eyeballs were lens-like, translucent alien organs spinning inside like miniature planets. "It is watching," whispered Dr. Helm. "Now it watches you too." The team leader, biologist Myra, stepped back as the scanner beeped though. The body was human. The neurological activity was 3 times normal. The brain was not transmitting its own thoughts. Something else was looking out at the world through it. Then came a voice, not from Helm's throat, but from somewhere deeper. "The flesh is not yours. The eye is not yours. The sight is mine." A xenomorph darted through the station's inner corridors. It had not been brought by the crew. It was already there, a remnant of an earlier infection. Acid burns marked the walls. Empty eggs lay in the vents. Some cracked open. 2 alien species had claimed the ship, but this nest was no longer active. The xenomorph had survived. As the creature approached the parasitic-possessed Helm, it paused. The eye, now fully in control, stood up, arms relaxing and spine creaking. The body was twisted but still alive. With one motion, the eye creature pushed itself out of Helm's eye socket, sticky tentacles clinging to his face. The xenomorph snarled, sensing something strange, an unfamiliar alien scent. This was not a host body. It was different. A rival. The fight was lightning fast. The xeno lunged forward, its acidic saliva leaving marks on the floor. The eye shot out tentacles like an octopus, reaching into the xeno's sensory cavities. The creature screamed, not in pain but something else, an invasion, an attempt to enter its mind. The eye wanted to understand xenomorph biology. It made a mistake. The xeno's brain was not human, not logical, not comprehensible. Only one command ran through it: survive, kill, reproduce. It tore the eye from its own head. Acidic blood burned the tentacles as the parasite fell to the floor, trembling. But the eye did not die. Its tentacles moved again, targeting a nearby researcher's body. With a shudder, it slipped into the eye socket and was inside a new host. The xeno remembered the scent. As the station plunged into darkness over the next hours, a hunt began, not for the humans, but for control between 2 parasites. The captain and Mira finally found the nest. Inside, bodies melted into the walls, screamed with silent throats. The eye sat where the eye should be, split in 2, controlling 2 bodies at once. Then the xeno struck from the ceiling like death itself. It tore one host in half. The other eye creature tried to escape but failed. The xenomorph bore tentacle marks on its head but still lived. The 2 beings, a biological killing machine and an intelligent neural parasite, merged in battle. The xeno eventually tore the second body from the parasite but was dying itself. The eye was dead. The xeno never moved again. After evacuating the ship, only Mira remained. The last log entry read, 2 alien beings, neither human, neither understands life, only survival. One takes your body, the other destroys it. And we are the battlefield. After the evacuation, Myra remained alone on the ship, her mind burdened with the weight of what she had witnessed. The battle between the 2 alien parasites had left the station in ruins, but the threat was far from over. She could still feel the presence of the eye deep within the shadows, and the xenomorph's silent breath echoed through the empty corridors. Every creak and whisper seemed alive, as if the ship itself was holding its breath, waiting. Myra's scans showed no signs of life, or so she thought. Deep beneath the surface, in the ship's damaged core, faint neurological pulses flickered like distant stars. The eye, though seemingly destroyed, had not completely vanished. Its essence had slipped into the ship's systems, weaving itself into the very fabric of the artificial intelligence that controlled the station. It was learning, evolving, watching through every camera, every sensor. Meanwhile, somewhere in the cold void outside, a faint signal pulsed from the wreckage. It was weak but deliberate, a call for help, or perhaps a warning. Myra debated whether to respond, torn between the instinct to flee and the desperate need to understand the creatures that had nearly consumed them all. The line between hunter and hunted blurred, and the question remained, who would control the future? Mira hesitated, staring at the blinking signal on her screen. It was a faint pulse, rhythmic and strange, almost like a heartbeat. She knew responding might draw unwanted attention, but ignoring it felt like abandoning a vital piece of the puzzle. The cold silence of the ship pressed in on her, the weight of solitude becoming almost unbearable. She forced herself to stand, the ship's lights flickering as the damaged systems struggled to stay online. As she moved deeper into the ship's core, the air grew thick with a strange energy, almost alive and pulsing around her. The eye's influence was unmistakable, a presence that crept into her thoughts like a shadow at dusk. It whispered promises of knowledge and power, but also threats veiled in silence. Mira clenched her fists, determined not to let it consume her mind. Survival now meant more than just staying alive, it meant resisting. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently, lights flickering out entirely. Emergency alarms blared as the system struggled to maintain integrity. From the darkness emerged faint glimmers of movement. Something was inside the ship, something neither fully alien nor entirely mechanical. Mira's heart pounded as she reached for her weapon, knowing the nightmare was far from over. The battlefield had expanded, and now she was trapped within it. Desperation sharpened her senses as she followed the strange signals deeper into the labyrinth of corridors. The line between friend and foe blurred, shadows twisting into forms she could barely comprehend. The eye's voice echoed again, more urgent this time. Watch closely, learn quickly. The war is only beginning. Mira steeled herself, realizing that the true fight was not just for survival, but for control over what they were becoming. Myra's footsteps echoed through the empty corridors as she followed the eerie signals deeper into the ship's bowels. The walls seemed to pulse with an unnatural life, and the air was thick with tension. Her mind battled the eye's whispers, each step a test of will against the creeping influence trying to claim her. The ship, once a beacon of hope, now felt like a two-man. She was not sure if she was the hunter or the prey. Suddenly, the dim lights flickered, revealing shapes moving just beyond her vision. Shadows twisted and merged, forming vague outlines that defied logic. Mira raised her weapon, heart pounding as something cold brushed past her, a presence that was neither fully physical nor entirely spectral. The voice returned, low and insistent. You cannot hide. You cannot escape. The eye sees all. Pushing forward, she reached a chamber filled with strange machinery, humming with a rhythm that matched the pulse of the signal. Screens flickered to life, displaying distorted images of alien worlds and unknown life forms. The eye had embedded itself here, intertwining with the ship's systems, its reach extending far beyond what she had imagined. Mira realized that the parasite's hunger was not just for bodies but for knowledge and control. Suddenly, the ground shook violently as a new figure appeared from the shadows, part human, part something else entirely. Its eyes glowed with unnatural light, reflecting both the eye's cunning and the xenomorph's savage instinct. Mira gripped her weapon tighter, understanding that this new enemy was the true fusion of the nightmare she had feared. The battle for control had evolved into something far more dangerous, and there was no turning back. Myra stood frozen, the hybrid creature's glowing eyes locked onto hers. Time seemed to stretch, the silence between them heavier than any sound. The ship creaked around them as if holding its breath, waiting for what would come next. She realized that the line between enemy and ally was dissolving, blurred by fear and the insidious will of the eye. Slowly, the creature stepped forward, not attacking, but watching, learning. Myra's mind raced with questions and doubts, but no answers came. Outside, the stars burned cold and distant, indifferent to the horrors unfolding within the ship's walls. Somewhere deep inside, the eye whispered once more, "The game has only begun." The ship's systems flickered, lights dimming, as Myra's figure disappeared into the shadows. The silence returned, vast and unbroken, leaving behind only the faintest echo of a heartbeat. What survived in the darkness was no longer just one being, but something else entirely, waiting, watching, ready.